Welcome back to another Senior Learning Institute's educational moment, where older adults and their loved ones turn for honest and straightforward information. In just a few minutes, you'll enjoy bite-sized, easily digestible nuggets of knowledge, empowering you to make the right decision the first time. So without further ado, here's our founder, certified senior advisor, seniors real estate specialist, nationally syndicated podcaster and speaker, the advocate you can trust, Mr. Ted Gottlieb.
As someone who has older adult parents who live half a country away, it's nice to know that if they need help, we have an advocate located near them. Care managers provide a wide range of valuable services. With us now is Jay Kweskin. Jay is a certified senior advisor specializing in care management. Jay is going to share with us how care managers can be your eyes and ears when you can't be there. Jay, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you, Ted. I want to start by just explaining what a care manager is. And a care manager is simply a professional that helps individuals and families as an advocate, but also helps navigate through the system of the different care options that are out there. So we advocate by communicating with various professionals, and these professionals may include doctors, it may include other healthcare professionals, home care professionals, facility and community staff, financial planners, attorneys. These are also important. You know, you may need a senior may need an attorney for a power of attorney or getting their trust in order. And maybe there's some bill paying issues that need to be addressed. That a care manager can also assist with. Maybe there's transportation issues, and a care manager needs to help in trying to find viable transportation options. Home maintenance may also be a possibility that we may have to help look into, as well as pharma and various other type of professionals. The needs and the issues are really numerous. For seniors and for families. So care managers help long distance families, as Ted said, by being the eyes and ears. We are your local contact, and we're there when you need us. We can help with the responsibilities that families face on that local level. We observe and we become active in the care of the seniors, and this includes really simply seeing and getting to know how they're living and what their environment is like, whether there's some health and safety issues, those type of things.
First question for you, Jay, is why would a care manager be needed for long distance families?
Well, we can help with the responsibilities that families face on a local level. We observe and become active in the care for the families when they are unable to do so geographically. This includes seeing and getting to know how they're living in regards to health and safety by identifying really the needs of the seniors and we look at to see if the living environment is safe, and we can make recommendations accordingly. By becoming an advocate, we can help vet those professionals that I had previously mentioned and work with them directly in order to really come up with the best possible services for the seniors and for your loved ones. We know that the staff and the community are also important to communicate with, and the staff involved may be part of the community. It may be in a facility. They get to know us, we get to know them, and we work together in trying to build the best possible environment and talk about any changes that need to be made and assistance that can be given to that individual. We are someone that really a family can call on and rely on in an emergency also.
Great. Well, thank you. So, how do we know when it's time to even consider contacting a care manager?
That really is up to the family. If a family feels like they're overwhelmed, a lot of times, if they feel like they need some extra assistance, that's the time to call. And even before that, in the planning stages, if it's never too late to start early, you can really help an individual by kind of going over the process prior to any issues. There a lot of times, and care managers deal with this all the time, when the emergency pops up and then we're called and then everybody is in panic mode, and things do go a little bit better if we can do some planning first.
Right. There's, excuse me, there's something to be said about being proactive. How do care managers, Jay, assist in understanding the health concerns? Because that takes things to a whole different level.
It really does. And probably the most important thing that a care manager can do to help the family and to help an individual is to really notice changes and to make note of the changes that are involved. And these changes can be subtle, or they can be more obvious. And these are very important things to notice. A lot of times that it's really, you want to check to see. What we do a lot of times is just to check to see if they're active still. If there's any change in their activity. Maybe their activities of daily living are changing. That's important. Maybe there's some subtle changes in the way they're walking, or the way they're taking care of themselves. Maybe there's some hygiene issues that come up. A lot of times it's simply a matter of, are they still, if they always did their checkbook, is that still being maintained? Are they is their environment safe, as far as, are they leaving things out? Um, and those things are the things that we can check on, and kind of take a good look at, as well as many care managers, and I've been involved in this numerous times, is that we actually go into the doctor's office with the client, which is a huge help, because a client or a senior sometimes will have some problems with remembering to tell the doctors different issues. That's something that we can step in and help. They may not mean to, um, but it always helps to have that extra voice in there that can speak to the doctors directly.
Right. And
Um,
it's not,
Go ahead.
it's not just, communicating what is going on with the senior, but it's also communicating back and making notes in terms of what the course of action is going to be, if there is any, that the physician is suggesting for his patient as well.
Exactly. And there's also, besides trying to fulfill the doctor's what the doctor wants, there's also maybe pharmaceuticals involved, and you want to make sure that the pharmaceuticals are being refilled and that they're being taken properly. Those are things that we can also assist with. There's also, um, when we're also taking note of things, maybe there's some other professionals that need to be brought into the mix. Medical professionals, maybe a psychiatrist should be consulted, maybe a physical therapist. Um, there's pharmaceutical experts out there that can also help with the pharmaceuticals, and whether medications are not only being taken right, but what the mix of the medications are.
Right. I like the idea of the care manager becoming a friend and an advocate as well. Most of the times, obviously, with the knowledge of the older adult, in most cases, and then sometimes maybe not, if their children feel at a certain point that um, they need some eyes and ears, and they want to bring somebody in, but not necessarily know, let mom and dad know what's going on. And I don't know that I subscribe to that on many occasions, but sometimes it's probably necessary. But the idea of you going in early, getting to know them, so that when you do notice subtle changes, that you can recognize them, and doing it on an ongoing basis. I don't know if it's once a month, once every other month when someone is still well, but somehow building that relationship, so that if the time comes when you have to start having some of those discussions, there's a level of trust, not only with the senior, but with the kids as well. Let me ask you this. What are some of the procedures that care managers use to communicate back to the families and the physicians and other professionals?
And that's a very good question. The way we communicate, generally, the way we start is by doing an assessment, and the assessment can involve history of the individual. It can kind of give kind of the family dynamics. It may involve just the concerns that the families have that you want to jot down. Um, and then you give your own general observations. Care managers will give their observations as well as recommendations that they have, and kind of the early stages of the plan of care. Now that is fluid; that changes quite a bit throughout this process. Many communities or facilities will also have their own care planning meeting. That's extremely helpful, and depending on the community or the facility, maybe they'll have them once a month, maybe they'll only have them quarterly, but that's something else that a care manager can come in and be intricately involved in. By speaking with the family, make sure that's being set up, and make sure that the important points are being discussed. And other ways that I communicate personally, sometimes I'll just keep up with people via text. I'll just update them, very simply. Others, may require another report or some family meetings that I'll get involved in. I've even taken pictures of areas around their living environment. For example, recently I had somebody that had some problems on a staircase, and so I took pictures of the staircase and made some recommendations on what can be done, and brought the family involved in something like that. So it's there's quite a bit.
Great, thank you, Jay. I want to remind everybody we're speaking with Jay Kweskin. Jay is a certified senior advisor who specializes in care management. Jay, how is it determined who you're actually able to share information with?
Okay, it really, there are, we all go by some various HIPAA rules, and there are some documents that we need to sign, that we need to have signed, and depending on, there's some information given depending on who the power of attorney is. We always keep in mind that the seniors are adults, and many times they can make decisions on their own. So it's a little bit of a balancing act in these situations, but at the same time, the family needs to understand that we are doing things in the best interests of their loved one, and sometimes it is a juggling act. Sometimes we do have to. There's various dynamics in a family, so as long as the families understand that there are some um, moving parts, and there's various pieces of this puzzle that we need to put together. And a care manager kind of works as that one person that everybody can go to and express their feelings.
Right. And it's all about relationships. And as you know, I'm all about, trying to build relationships. What we do goes well beyond being transactional. I wonder if you could describe for us the relationship that forms between the older adult, the family, and the care manager.
And it's a pretty strong, important relationship. There's a very particular bond that becomes essential. There's a trust factor that's involved, and so it's based on trust, and it's based on assistance. And we generally, the care managers are doing the best they can. Um, Depending on the certain situations, and there's not always an families also learn to understand that it may not be the ideal um, uh, options that are out there, especially in times like today. Options are limited at this time. But and then there's also, so that's the way the family can work with the care manager, but at the same time, the relationship with the individual has to be based on trust too, and that takes a little bit of time. Um, you know, a lot of times there's a little apprehension about bringing somebody new into the picture, but care managers generally can sit with the adult, the senior, get to know them. The more we get to know them, the more comfortable they are, and they end up calling us and relying us for a lot of different things and a lot of different advice. And they know, uh, we're going to be there for
Yeah, and I've experienced some of what you do on a much smaller scale, and I got to tell you, it's a beautiful thing. It really is, being able to assist and advocate and be there for somebody. It's also a very emotional thing. I didn't count on a lot of that when I was doing what I was doing. I was referred to somebody by a transition coordinator. This person was looking to go to a community, and he wasn't ready to go, and we were talking about selling the house and all of the different options, but he wasn't eating well, he couldn't do his laundry, and I got way involved, and it was a tough process. I was there, a couple days before he passed away, and just tried to advocate. My lesson there was really the communication is key. It's not necessarily the communication with the older adult, but with the family, and
them.
helping
Exactly.
them to understand what's going on and how we're here to help, and what can we do for them. What you do is not easy, and I want to thank you for that. Uh, let
I,
me
I really try to keep up with not just the family and the individual and the senior, but also the other players that are involved are extremely important. If there's a real estate agent involved, I get involved with that. There may be some other outside assistance that need, to also be communicated with.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're a portal to a variety of different services, and you're able to coordinate those things, and it's a really, really wonderful service, and it's one that is affordable. And oftentimes I will ask, without giving too much information, but a lot of times people want to know what these services cost. So, do you mind just sharing with us? Give us a range in regard to, it could be a national number, but what do
Sure.
services like yours cost? I assume on an hourly basis.
Yeah, it is on an hourly basis, and really they run the gambit. Just depending on what's done. A lot of times it is on an hourly basis. Sometimes when reports are put together, there's one flat fee that's involved. Um, Generally, you're looking at anywhere between and this number. Um, really depends on a lot of times the experience of the individual, their certification, and other things.
Right. And the question is, what does it cost not to make the right decision the first time and not to have your eyes and your ears? And when
Exactly,
you look at it from that
exactly.
perspective, if there's money in the budget for it, it's really money well spent. Well, Jay, I want to thank you so much for your insight. If someone wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way for them to do that?
My email address is jay@kwescare.com. That's JAY at KWESCARE.com. Or my phone number is 636 778 9305. I also have a website, questcare.com, KWESCARE.com.
Great. And that phone number again is 636-778-9305 or questcare.com.
Correct.
Thanks
Yes.
again, Jay. I want to
My
thank
pleasure.
all of you for listening to this Senior Learning Institute educational moment. At the Institute, we strive to provide straightforward and unbiased information, the information you need to make smart decisions the first time. Whether you're looking for tips on staying safer at home, selling a home in any condition, estate and financial planning advice, tips on caregiving, finding the right senior living community, estate sales, decluttering, you name it, we've got you covered, either through our online resources or through our free nationwide referral network. To learn more, please visit us at theseniorlearninginstitute.com. That's seniorlearninginstitute.com. You can also check us out on YouTube. Until next time, I'm Ted Gottlieb, Certified Senior Advisor, Seniors Real Estate Specialist, and founder of the Senior Learning Institute.